and strong viewpoints about Wahhabism spreading in the region. Could you try to explain, maybe to a wondering Western public, the true facts of what is actually happening? The fight between progressive and reactionaries, or if you would put it in more lyrical terms, the fight between the darkness and the light, please.
A lot of Middle Eastern or Islamic cultures. Now, on radical Islam and the Wahhabism that is spreading throughout the Middle East and now East Asia, it's very, very, very worrying. Now, this is not Islam necessarily, but more Hijaz or Saudi thinking, their culture. And it is an idea to impose that culture upon all Islamic societies. And I'm afraid that the spread of that thinking is very, very rapid. Partly because we haven't stood up and given an alternative narrative. Other more liberal Muslims haven't come out with a proper narrative that can counter the radical Islamic viewpoint. Now, what the radicals are doing, they have an answer for everything, anything. You could ring up in the middle of the night and say, Sheikh, I'm not able to sleep. And then the Sheikh would give you a hadith and a revelation on what the Prophet did and what the God has prescribed on sleeping in the middle of the night. And then you go back to sleep. We don't have a helpline. We don't have an alternative narrative. And I think it's so important that we come up with an alternative narrative, a liberal version of Islam, or actual version of Islam. I wouldn't argue that it's a liberal version of Islam. Radical Islam is spreading like wildfire even in Sri Lanka. And this is happening all over the world, all over the East Asia, Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, even India and Sri Lanka. And because Maldives is a very Islamic country apparently, it is able to play a very important role in the spread of these religious ideas. And similarly, I believe that with proper democracy in the Maldives, we can play a very important role as a counter to the Reformation, or rather the Jesuits have to come up quickly.
Point is that I yesterday read in a leading Danish newspaper that the Maldives are listed as, with Saudi Arabia and a few other countries, as the second most aggressive against Christianity, and they are pursuing Christians more than any other countries. And I wonder, if you come into power again, if you are able to do something about that, to have more freedom of faith, of religion.
So there is this idea of wanting to return back to Hijaz as it was in the 7th century. This is Wahhabism I think that's Wahhabism in principle. There is that idea that they want to revert us back to how it was exactly in the 7th century Hijaz. And it is difficult and it is worrying, but I hope that our society, I believe, the vast majority of them are very, very tolerant people. And I think if all this rhetoric is removed from the official discourse, then there will be a much more liberal society. And I assure you, the rhetoric will be removed from the official discourse.